Because you survive a disaster with no supplies. Joke, I'm at RxHealthyHabits. In our series on disaster preparation or emergency preparation, I often say to myself, it's one thing for me to keep stockpiling all these supplies. It's another thing for me to have some skills. And these skills are important. I want to go through and talk about some unexpected skills, and these are 5 unexpected skills you really need to think about getting a really good handle on during any disaster situation. And I really appreciate the response I got from my video on the 5 top barter items. It was very well received. I'm really excited about that. And this is kind of like a continuation of that, because I think sometimes, again, having the stuff on hand is one thing, knowing how to use it's another. Here's number 1. This is so important. Basic first aid has got to be something that you really get a handle on, because things happen during disasters, and sometimes because of the disaster, people get injured. And 60% of injuries that occur can be taken care of with basic first aid. And this is according to FEMA. So not hospitals, they may not be there to take care of you, especially if something is not life-threatening. But even so, you really got to think about how you can do things like bandage, suturing, possibly learn how to stitch some wounds, possibly learning CPR, but stabilizing fractures with household items, using things that you have there. It's so important. But think about this. One of the biggest dangers during disasters is for you to get injured, and the chance that you get injured go up during disasters. So first aid kits, first aid supplies, absolutely, but you got to know how to use what's in there. Okay. Water purification techniques. Now, there's a lot of things you do there. Boiling water to disinfect water, to do things with solar units that help get the water to the temperature to kill bacteria. But then there's all these mini filter. There's these straws that you can buy. And of course, you always want to come to our website, because we have some preferred brands that you can get some really good deals by clicking on our link to get some of these. But clean water. The CDC says about 3.5 million deaths a year come from waterborne illnesses. 3.4 million. Now, during disaster scenarios, water is going to be one of the mainstays, and if you don't master that skill, you're done. Urban foraging. How to identify plants that can be safely, you can go out and scavenging in the urban areas, because sometimes when food sets get low, scavenging is going to be important, but there's a lot of times that you could think about some things that you could grab that you learn how to eat in your backyard, down in the neighborhood, maybe in the park. There's some edible things that you can eat that we're going to help, and especially this is kind of important when it comes to some of the vitamins and minerals, and sometimes people that are not getting some of their plant sources or vegetable sources during these times are really going to suffer, especially without vitamins. But basically, there's a lot of references at the bottom of this blog. You can go in there and click on them and find out what things you should think about learning about for foraging berries and such like that. So mistakes can be made. That's why it's important to learn this, because you'd eat the wrong things. Basic repair. This is very important. Sewing, sharpening a knife, and fixing gear with minimal tools. You have to learn how to sew things and patch things, because trust me, that's going to be something important. Repairing can expend the life of things by 50%. So very important that you learn how to have some sewing skills and have a sewing kit ready to roll. And then the last thing is negotiation techniques. When it comes to bartering, you really have to learn some things, and there's a lot of good tutorials on that in my blog at the bottom. And it's a psychology, and it's something that's not going to probably come to you unless you've done it before. But also you can learn how to start high but be fair, and never show desperation. And another thing that people said is be careful bringing people to your place where you have all these things stored. So just to wrap up, skills are important, just as important as having the supplies, probably more so. And a lot of times people just don't take the time to really say, hey, my skills are really kind of weak in this area. So check out my resources, check out the website, go to our preferred brand partners, and get some deals. So with that, just a little bit of preparedness goes a long way, but sharpen up on your skills. God bless.